the attempt of the president is aimed at accumulating, or if you like, concentrating power at the executive. And if he is successful, will completely make nonsense of the separation of powers at the base of all democratic conceptions. And I think that we must, for the purposes of this republic, let President Mahama hear it loud and clear that that act will not be accepted. We are clear.
What's your basis for faulting the president? What has he done?
The president is determined to remove the Chief Justice.
How? Tell me how.
He is determined to remove the Chief Justice. If you're asking me how, I'm not sure what question you're asking me, because you know the how. The how is 146.
Okay.
But the determination, the resolve, is political. The idea that he wants to remove the Chief Justice. The motives are clear. The political motives are clear.
The president is not the petitioner.
But
there are about 5 petitioners.
Massa.
No, we need,
you are a very seasoned and experienced journalist. Don't ask that question.
How?
That question, you ought to read the tea leaves by now.
Okay.
And don't ask me a question that leads us somewhere.
I don't ask questions based on suspicion. I ask based
you're
on
you're asking a question that I know you have the answer to.
How?
And your viewers have the answer to it. That the president himself is not the one to petition himself to remove the Chief Justice. And that petitions you are seeing and the allegations inherent in them are frivolous, okay? There are allegations that are, if there's any merit in them, are largely administrative matters that can be dealt with. And there are precedents of such matters being dealt with, where former Chief Justices were made to pay back some monies, okay? And so these are not grounds enough for anybody to find any reason for anybody to come and answer any case whatsoever, unless you have calculated part of your politics and you're just using the law to unfold to end with your political motive, which is to remove Chief Justice, concentrate power, and use the judiciary to achieve a certain end that you have, which you have indicated to us on the campaign to office. Okay, so this is not about the law. If anybody tells you, if Hamza tells you it's about the law, tell him no. The law is manifest, we know it, is a process that's given, but what is driving the decision to go at it now is political. And that's what we want to resist. The democracy we run is not for anybody. Okay, it's for us, fought for by people. And now that we have it, we must do everything to guard against it. Absolute power, we know, corrupts absolutely.
So Richard,
and if you have a situation where the legislature, as we see it today, firmly under the control of the executive, by virtue of party, whip system, they have a supermajority. There isn't any interface necessary. A bipartisan effort is not is fashionable, not a necessity in order for government to achieve any of its programs in the executive. So the executive is firmly influenced by the executive.
Okay.
The legislature is firmly influenced by the executive. And now, if you get the judiciary to be influenced by the executive as the president is proceeding, you would have succeeded in collapsing the 3 into 1. Concentration of power at the presidency. That will likely drive tyranny. The tyranny of the majority. The idea that the president is so powerful that what he wants is what the judiciary does. Because he's put somebody there who would do his bidding. That's the impression they are creating for us. And the legislature also under their control. My brother, you are setting our democracy up for collapse. And we cannot accept it.
Okay, Richard.
No matter how gentle President Mahama is, I'm coming. I'll just end for you. No matter how gentle President Mahama is, no matter how unassuming President Mahama is, no matter how much you love him, no matter how well-intended he is, the fact of it is that, and there's history to prove it, that absolute power corrupts absolutely. And in this case, if we allow it, President Mahama will have become too powerful for the good of our democracy.
Okay, so some Ghanaians decided to petition the president over what they deem to be the Chief Justice's infraction of the law, and in some cases, the policies. They sent the matter to the president. And
you are still arguing process with me, and I'm telling you, this is not about process.
Hold on.
Moro, let me tell you. You are asking me that.
I told you I was going to ask the question. You said that. You said I should allow you to land.
But you are asking the same question.
No. By the time I'm done, you will understand why I'm doing this. And the president says there's a constitutional mechanism to dealing with this. So he collects the thing and did what he had to do. Now, remember that the NPP, for a very long time, in the last 8 years, have said something to us, which is that, look, when it comes to these matters, the president is only a conveyor belt. I recall at the time when the NDC were criticizing and were raising grave reservations about how the Shadotose matter was handled. And you said, look, the president had no say, really. It was just a conveyor belt.
So just ask your question.
So my question, hold on. My question is this, that what is it that you're expecting the president to do about Article 146? It is there. It is in the Constitution. Should he not follow it because you would say that the president is up to some mischief, so he shouldn't follow the 146? Is that what the argument is all about?
Moro, I'm not saying that that you shouldn't follow 146.
The constitutional provisions.
If there's a justifiable basis,
yes,
that the Chief Justice, for which reason is provided for in the Constitution, if those actions are manifest and therefore the process ought to be triggered, it has to follow the process.
So what exactly?
Notwithstanding the weaknesses that in 146 that we all have alluded to, notwithstanding that, he has to go through a process. And if the issues were clear-cut, I don't think that anybody will be demonstrating, right? It would have been the vision of the framers to be able to create a certain system that is honest, that is itself accountable to itself and to the other branches. But what I am telling you is that the process that is being triggered, put it aside. It is the politics that is calling for the process in Article 146 to be triggered. That's the matter. That the NDC have, the NDC President Mahama, they have an agenda, to achieve a certain end, which I am saying right now is about many things, including the possible effort, to interpret our Constitution in a certain way that gives leeway for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to be able to contest a third term. You understand? Because I'm just saying,
where are you getting this information from?
Boro, you have to look at the long-term object of seeking to collapse, the three structures into one, the three branches into one. The legislature firmly under the control of the president, the judiciary, which is out, not fully under his control. He's wanting to put his own Chief Justice there, collapse all of that into one so that an interpretation is brought, a question is raised about matters like this. If that is not true, he should stop it, because that's what we see. That's the end, among other things. That's the end that you're aiming for.
He should stop what?
The process of removing the Chief Justice, because the reasons that have been brought are frivolous and nothing requiring...
You just said earlier that there's nothing the president can do. He's only following the Constitution.
I didn't say that. You said that. No, you said that.
The reason you didn't want me to ask the question was because you said there was nothing the president can do.
You are not listening to me. I'm saying that in this conversation,
yes,
Article 146 is not the problem.
Okay.
It's not a problem of law. The problem of law comes if we disagree with the process. Some disagree. That's the Bar Association wants the suspension to be revoked because it's not mandatory that the president suspends in the dictate of Clause 10, right? So they're saying that they should reinstate her, which is fine. But I'm saying that the larger picture, why we have this whole thing, requiring that somebody, GBA issues, revoke this, do that, and all of that, FIDA issuing statement up and down, is the politics designed to concentrate power at the presidency to achieve a certain end. That's what we're talking about. And our democracy was not constructed to behave like that. It was constructed that there's a check on the executive, there's a check on the executive by the legislature and the judiciary, and that check flows two-way. So the executive checks, the judiciary checks, and legislature checks. So that the three works in a fashion that allows our democracy to survive.
Okay.
What he is doing, if we allow it, it would concentrate power at the presidency, and that will be the demise of our democracy. And this is not about law. This is about politics. Politicians seeking more power. Politicians seeking more power, pushing the envelope to get it. And I'm telling you that, notwithstanding the good nature of President Mahama, you know, I know, notwithstanding his gentility and unassuming, personality, and what we believe is a legacy moment for him, the politics here is overriding. And we must check that politics. That is why the Constitution allows us, as the people, as the sovereign, to be able to demonstrate in days like this, to control, to check, and to serve notice that where you are going is too dangerous, too slippery. We will not allow for it to happen. It is part of our democracy, and we'll exercise that right to stop the president from Richard, concentrating power at the presidency. So Richard, that is a responsibility I have, you have, we must all join. That's why I invited Hamza to protest in his heart against his own president.
From everything you just said, it appears to me that this is a feeling. It's a suspicion and it's pure conjecture.
But you were here. You were here during the election when His Excellency was speaking to the NDC lawyers and telling them,
yes,
okay, what they must do to possess the judiciary.
Prepare that someday.
Yes, of course, and the someday has come. And the certain act.
How do you know that?
But the someday is here. They're in power. Was he going to appoint them when he was in opposition? He was in power. Now he's in power. He's able to do what he said. Okay. And now you had Felix Kwachio Fosu in an interview sometime at your sister station.
My former station.
Your former station, City, I think with Bernard. So talking about how is it that he feels that the judiciary has been biased against the NDC.
Okay, but my final question
so my point is
let's even say granted.
Yeah.
Let's even say granted that some persons want the Chief Justice out, right?
Don't assume.
I'm saying
they want the Chief Justice out. So what are you assuming?
No. What I'm saying, let me
say the president wants the Chief Justice. You're not assuming. The thing is happening. You're assuming. What are you assuming?
Hold on. I'm assuming because I don't know it as a matter of fact.
The process is unfolding. So just speak to the process.
Okay. So let me put it this way. Let's even say granted that Felix Ofosu-Kwakye, Sami Jemfi, the national chairman, and so on, they want the Chief Justice out.
President, why are you calling Sami Jemfi?
I haven't heard President Mahama say he wants.
But he triggered the process. So what are you afraid of?
He triggered the process?
Yes, he triggered the process. But is he not the one who took the petition to the Council of State for consultation, and then they
that's not him triggering the process. He was only following due process.
I'm saying that
somebody petitioned him.
Is it a trigger that is your problem or what?
No, when you say trigger, I'm saying
that
we should be careful because we should be careful. Don't create the impression
that
he is the one behind the petition. That's what I'm saying. That when you say he triggered,
nobody has said that. But if you said that, it will only constitute a basis for proof that I'm not.
So that's what I'm saying. That let's even say granted that some persons have made some comments.
You're having a difficulty because you just don't want to confront the issue. Forget about Sami sitting somewhere.
You know my difficulty. You know my difficulty mentioning the president's name. My difficulty is that I've not heard the president say that he wants the Chief Justice out. So I'm not in a position.
Did you hear Sami say he wants the Chief Justice out?
No, they have expressed.
So why are you using?
No, hold on. They have expressed their consternation and disagreements with the Chief Justice, and they are.
So they want them out.
That's what I'm saying. That even if that's what I'm saying, granted that you want to even interpret that to mean that they want the Chief Justice out.
The president.
No, hold on. Do you honestly think that if there's no basis for the removal of the Chief Justice, somebody can remove her?
I'm saying that the bases that have been brought are frivolous.
Yeah, so that's why
you have read. You've heard the basis. Yes, it's frivolous.
But that's why a committee has been set up.
It's almost like moral. It's almost like you saying that your father has punished you, so you disown him.
Yes.
Is that reasonable? Yeah, is that reasonable to say? You're not expecting this matter,
of the issues that have been raised, the matter, it's been looked into by a committee.
I'm saying, you keep going back. I'm saying that the legal process,
yes,
to give effect to the politics is not the question to debate.
Yes.
We are not going to demonstrate because there's a legal process unfolding.
Okay.
Otherwise, we are demonstrating against the Constitution.
Absolutely.
Right? That's not what we're talking about. Okay. Our concerns about it, we'll bring to the review committee to consider amending 146, right? To give a higher threshold for the removal of the Chief Justice, because the President cannot be removed by the processes that the Chief Justice is being removed. It has to go to Parliament for 2/3 to approve or disapprove. Okay. The Speaker goes through the same process. An equal branch. Why do we have to have a certain low threshold for the removal of the Chief Justice? That's a matter that is not part of what conversation we're having.
Okay.
If we have concerns with that, we'll address it with the review committee.
Okay.
I am telling you that our concern is the politics of the NDC and its President Mahama, which we are saying that he wants to put bearing all his utterances in opposition.
Okay.
That he's giving effect to all of that, to control the judiciary once and for all, to give effect to their motive, which we can read from here. And we are saying that will amount to majority, the tyranny by the majority, and will lead to concentration of power at the executive, which will mean the demise of our democracy.
Well, because
and
our
that
time is almost,
we will not tolerate.
The rest of the 8